G'day guys, real maintenance. Now we spend a heck of a lot of money on these sorts of things, Tim, and some of the modern technology is absolutely fantastic. Reels have come a long way. However, when we're spending $500, $600, $800 on a fishing reel, we want to look after that investment. They should last you a lifetime if you look after them. They literally should. First things first, when we get home from any fishing trip, whether we're caught fish or not, just whether we've been out in the elements, there is still one major way that gives, I reckon, 80 or 90% reel protection.
See it all the time, yeah.
What we see out the back, Tim, when we're servicing reels all day, the garden hose, lads. Go and get it. Make sure you put it on shower. Now, put it on shower, same way I talk about if you're squirting water into a pot plant, we don't want to blast all the sand out, Tim.
That's right, yeah.
Same sort of pressure is involved here.
Yep, just light pressure, but a lot of water.
Volume.
Yep.
We want to rinse all the salts off. We don't want to blast salts into the reel. We want to rinse them off the outside. Particular intention, our line's been in the water all day and out. And sometimes guys wash all around everywhere. Takes a fair bit of rinsing to get all the salt out of the fishing line.
It gets crusty on the inside. A few layers down, you'll find some salt deposits and your spool starts to corrode out.
100%. So when we're respooling, we find all these little problems. Now, so plenty of water, lots of volume. Do one thing. Always just apply the water from the top down. Never turn a spin reel over and apply from the bottom up.
No.
Water can cause problems.
You're probably going to push salt back into the reel by doing that.
We'll show you how to do that in a minute when we take this one apart. Plenty of water from the top. Leave your drag on before you apply the garden hose. You're going to make sure that no water gets into our drag, gets any further deep into the reel, and you can hose that off with lots of volume and not too much pressure, lots of volume for 2 or 3 minutes. If you're packing it up, you've been to Exmouth for a couple of weeks, have copped a flogging.
Hey, some guys chow with their reels, mate, so that's their preference, but a little bit of,
And do this when we never put them in a bucket of water.
No.
It buggers them up. Reels aren't 100% waterproof as people would believe. So never put them in a bucket of water except for one exception. If your reel ends up in salt water, take it out of the salt water, wash it as much as you can, and if you feel like you need to, drop it into a bucket of water and bring it into a service centre like we can do here.
That's right,
and we'll take care of the rest, because water is fine inside a reel until you go to use it. Salt water is not fine inside a reel at any time. So at least being in fresh water, we want to take it out, we're going to clean it, we're going to take all those old greases and oils out, which are now full of salt.
If you dunk your reel, just dilute that salt.
Dilute the salt.
Yep.
Keep it as salt-free as you can and get it to someone as soon as you can, because
yeah.
we need to get that open as soon as we can.
Takes no time for it to start doing bad things to a reel, yeah.
We've got home from a fishing trip. We've given that a good wash down, hosed all the salts off. We're going to give it a shake, put it inside to dry, keep it out of the direct sun.
Yep.
Back the drag pressure off just a fraction. What else can we do to keep this rocket lasting our lifetime?
I reckon just concentrating on those points of water intrusion, like your line roller is so critical. People don't realise how critical that line roller is. If your line roller is stuffed and seized, it'll wear a mark through it, it'll start rubbing on your line, and you'll lose your fish. That's one thing, that's the first one. Points of water intrusion underneath the spool, either side of the gearbox, that's one thing you can do to sort of stop water getting into your reel. I'll just do one thing real quick, Ash, just like the bloody bearings on your trailer, for your boat trailer. Grease around your bearings is going to stop water intrusion. As simple as this, just pack that with a bit of grease on the outside. Only a nice light grease, just like that, is going to stop a lot of water getting into your reel.
It's going to help. I get home, I do it this way. Every couple of weeks, after you've been away on a big trip for a couple of weeks, what I do, nice and simple, take my spool off. I don't mind about spraying these sorts of sprays on fishing line. Inox will not rot your line, but I'm a little bit anal about the smells it can do. So from this point here, I can literally spray the whole reel just lightly, and then I'm going to pay particular attention to that line roller. We're going to put a nice shot in underneath on both sides. We want the inox to soak in the back. Everything that twists and moves our bail arm, we're just going to put a little shot inside there with it open, work it in. Where our handle spins, we want to put a little shot just in there like so. Yep. Give that a spin. Now, there are one-piece handles, like so. So there's no problem. This is now one-piece machined aluminium. The only part is there. If you have a two-piece handle.
Just like that, you get salt and bits and pieces built up in there. I've actually seen these snap off.
We've got two metals. We've got stainless steel, we've got cast. Make sure you screw this handle out if you have a two-piece and get inox or a spray similar inside there. Try not to use WD-40. WD-40 actually strips oils and greases. It's a penetrant more than a lubricant. Yeah, so we want to use, inox is a whole lot nicer on fishing reels. It's not a solvent. So we're trying to lubricate, not dilute.
Yeah, grease is good. We don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, okay. Now, I grab a rag and I wipe this whole reel over. We want to wipe that whole body with the inox that I've sprayed around the place. There's a little bit of excess on things. A nice wipe over with a rag. Pay attention to a few different places. Give it a spin. The body's now protected. Everything that moves on there has had some inox in or underneath it. Everything on the handle has had some inox in or underneath it, including where the handle spins on the shaft. I can now use just the inox that's on the rag, or apply a little bit more, and I literally then wipe my spool because I don't want to spray directly onto my fishing line. So I've got a nice little bit of inox on here.
Fish probably won't like that,
Wiping underneath. The inox won't necessarily rot the line, but I don't like smells on my fishing line. Broom fishermen and those that when fish are a bit fussy would totally understand. I'll give it all a nice wipe. Everything there that is exposed metal, I can give a wipe. I simply put all this back together. When I slip it back together, make sure we don't apply drag pressure. We don't want those drag washers loaded up while it's sitting in the cupboard. So sometimes we get a couple of months, we don't want to be not fishing that long, but it just happens. Keep that drag nice and light. Pop your handle back in. Wipe the acids off, your fingerprints off, and that reel can now sit in the cupboard like that. And when you pull it out, it's going to feel just like new.
Just like new, and they get stored for too long and they just come out horrible.
That's it.
There's a few other bits and pieces you can do. That had a sealed main shaft underneath the spool. This one doesn't really have one. A little bit of a dab of grease on that main shaft will act like a seal, stop water from getting in there.
That's it.
And some other reels have, like a bait runner like this, have a few other little bits and pieces, and the contact point where that bait runner activates just, yeah, gets corrosion all the time, so a bit of a spray on that.
More spray.
Is going to work really, really well.
Yeah.
Just on there like that. Click it over a few times. I've seen so many of those get replaced because of the corrosion, hey?
They do.
Yeah.
Pay particular attention with bait runners, especially down the beach on the bottom end of this reel. Don't turn it upside down when you're same thing, but just get the hose in underneath there, light, just make sure the salts are rinsed out from anywhere underneath, and sand when we're down the beach. The sand is full of salt and silica, all those yucky things. Do all that and your reel's going to last you more than a lifetime. You better hand it on down to the generations. Stay tuned because we're going to show you how to pop your drag stack out of your spool and keep that maintained to help avoid that sticky drag situation.
Absolutely.